What is up, you guys? My name is Madison. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today's video is going to be kind of like my springtime makeup, my everyday makeup, even though it is still technically a full beat. Don't mind that, guys. But I'm going to go in depth with each product that I have. I am also going to be including a lot of my Project Pan products, with the exception of my lip products, because those are in my work bag and I always bring them to work with me. But know that I have them. I'm going to go step by step, kind of show you how I use it, show you what brushes I use, even though most of the time I do in fact just use my hands because it makes life a little bit easier. And to prep my face, I started off with obviously my skincare, which you can go on my TikTok and find. If you want a full in-depth morning routine on my YouTube, let me know. But I just used the Evian facial spray. I got this as a present. I'm just trying to use it up. And then I use just the regular Burt's Bees chapstick. And then I'm going to go in with the Revolution Super Fix Super Grip Primer. This hydrates and smooths. And this is pretty similar to the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I prefer the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I also think it's cheaper. I think that was $11, and the e.l.f. Power Grip I believe is $7. But I use it pretty heavily in my T-zone area, and then I expand outwards just because I don't need it as much on the outskirts of my face. This is also a really good primer if you're more oily, because it kind of helps reduce the oil as you put more makeup on and helps separate less. Then I go in with all of my cream products. So I'm going to start off with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand in the shade Light Medium. Now this is in my Project Pan. Also, I have my mirror here and not here, so I'll try to kind of go between both. This is in my Project Pan, and it is starting to get kind of empty. And I just do it in all of the normal places that I contour, so along my cheekbones, my forehead, my nose, and then right on under my chin in the center. I used to put some here, but I've realized that I don't need to do that. I use this e.l.f. Angled Blush Brush. Most of my stuff is e.l.f. I love e.l.f. And then for my nose, again, I just use my finger to help make sure that it doesn't shift or move like it would with a brush. It is all going to be covered up, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Next, I go in with my liquid blush. This is the Ink Velvet 27 Peri Para in the shade Strawberry Nude. And I put some, just a little bit, right almost next to the eye, like right below it. And then down the center of the nose, and then I kind of make a cross. I put a little bit too much on, but that's okay. You can never have too much blush. And like I said, it is going to get covered up. And then I use this Billion Dollar Brushes brush. I don't know which one it is. It's just a flat top with a little bit of an angle. And I just extend the blush kind of down and out. I do that because I already have pretty red cheeks and the primer is red, so it puts a little bit of a red base to kind of neutralize. And it helps us bring it all the way up. And then I love a cute little burnt looking nose. And then I take my foundation. This is the e.l.f. Halo Liquid Glow Liquid Filter in the shade Too Fair Light. Now this is my Project Pan, but I use this very sparingly just because it is kind of dark and kind of yellow. Shade 1 was just straight yellow on my skin, so this is the best that I got. And I also put a little bit on my neck. And then I use the e.l.f. Liquid Blush brush. And then I pat and drag down just a little bit. I moved you a little bit closer, so hopefully the lighting is better, but I think it kind of just made it worse. I also have my window open, which I never do, but it's fine. And then I go with my concealer. This is the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And I do that just in all of the areas that I need to brighten, or in areas that I need to kind of neutralize a little bit more. So I put some under the eyes, just right there. I don't like do the wing out. Tip of my forehead, tip of my nose, chin, and then right there. Like right, not right under where I did the contour, but a little bit lower It also helps with the fact that my foundation is just a little bit too dark. And then I use the Real Techniques 308 medium shadow brush as a concealer brush. I'm going to start with the low points and work my way up. And then with my nose, right after I do the little tip, I take any extra and I just kind of go up the center of my nose just to kind of help clean it up a little bit. And then I take a little bit under my eye and I bring it up the side of my nose and then out. And then any extra I bring onto my eyelid, kind of just as a base. And then I take my e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist and a beauty sponge. I wet it kind of like once a month, like as I clean it, and then I just keep it because I don't like a super wet sponge. I feel like it does nothing. But I just shake it, spray it, and then take the sponge and I try to blend everything together as best as I can. Next, I take the Bare Minerals Bare Pro 16-Hour Skin Perfecting Powder Foundation in the shade Bare 17 Neutral. This is another item in my project pan. Clearly, I love it to death. And then I take the Morphe foundation brush. This is a liquid foundation brush, but I like the flat, dense brushes to put on powder, especially if it is pressed. That's somebody's car. That's way too loud to be somebody's car. Next, I do my eyebrows. So I use the NYX Professional Makeup Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Chocolate. And then the NYX Control Freak in Clear. Or like, yeah, just clear. And I don't do much with my brows. I kind of just make a line under the front and then I just literally scribble in my brows. I take the spoolie part and I blend all of that together. And I take my brow gel and I just set everything. And I take the front and I set it up, and then I take the sides and, or like the top, and just lay them flat like that. And I don't feel the need to clean up my brows with concealer. That's not a thing that I've ever done. Next, I'm using the Aesthetica Sunset Bronzer. Obviously, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I love her, and you know that she's in my project pan this year for me to use her up completely. A very similar bronzer that you can use is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It's a pretty similar kind of like softer formula, and it has the same undertone. So if you have a similar undertone to me, where you're olive but you still have a little bit of redness, then I recommend either one of these. If the Aesthetica Sunset Bronzer even exists, I don't know if it does. I don't think it does. So I don't know this brush. It has nothing on it. It used to say contour brush right here, but it was a Christmas present for my older brother, and I don't know the brand. Next, I'm using the Milani Luminoso baked powder blush, an absolute OG, an absolute staple. And this is another $1 Billion Brushes powder brush, and I just do it kind of where we put that liquid blush, and then I bring it a little bit higher and a little bit lower. Then whatever extra, I put it on the nose. Next, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Color Icon palette. This is the Heart and Soul palette. This is the one I'm trying to use. So first I'm going to go in with these 3 shadows, matte shades, with this Moda crease brush. I'm going to put that all over the lid. And then I take this darker orange shade and just put that in the crease. And then I'm going to take a flat brush. This is the e.l.f. Mid Melt eyeshadow brush. I believe this is limited edition, but it is just a small rounded flat brush. I'm going to take this little golden shade right here. I'm going to stick to this quad if you haven't noticed. And I just put that all over the lid. And then I go back in with that original brush, no shadow, and just kind of clean it up a little bit. And then whatever extra I pick up, I just smoke it under the crease or under the eye. I'm gonna take a darker brush and I go into this top shade right here. I take the smallest, littlest amount and I just put it on the edge of my eye like that. Make a little triangle. And I bring it up all the way to the crease, just one swipe. You don't really need any more than that. And then I take kind of a denser brush. This is the $1 Billion Brushes. This is a highlighter brush. And I go in with that top shade of the quad. Again, the one that's a little darker. And I just go over the crease in the outer corner of the eye just to blend everything together. And then again, whatever's extra, I put underneath the eye. And then I take the Milani Strobe Light highlighter, but I put that on all the high points. So my nose, my forehead, my cheeks, my chin, above my lip. And then I also put it on the inner corners of my eyes, just using all the same brush. This is the Bare Minerals Shadow and Blush brush. And then I take the bigger side and I just kind of make it less bam in your face. And then I go back in with my brow pencil and I make fake freckles, but only on the nose. I don't like them on my cheeks. So I just take it, I put them on, kind of giving the Kayla Malik effect. And then I take my finger and I just kind of lighten them a little bit. And then I go back in with my setting spray. Spray it. Get my beauty blender. Blend everything together. And then I take my Revlon lash curler, curl them for about 8 seconds, pulsating. So it works for me because I have short little eyelashes. And I take my very busted up e.l.f. eyebrow brush, take the spoolie, comb through them a little bit. And then I use 2 mascaras. I use the Great Lash Waterproof, which I don't like. I like the original Great Lash, but I have it, so I'm gonna use it. And then I have the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I go in with the Lash Paradise first, just because it gives me all of the length and all of the drama, but it is kind of clumpy for my lashes personally. I also feel like the wand is too big to get like the inner part of my eye. So that's why I go in with this one. And I also use this for my lower lash line. Okay, and then for lips, I have my NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in the shade Whipped Caviar. I love this shade. Just like that. And then I have the Glow Reviver Melting Lip Balm in Strawberry Shortcake. And this is my full springtime makeup look. This is also my everyday makeup look, essentially. I might switch out the blushes from time to time, the eyeshadow from time to time, the lips from time to time, but everything else is essentially the same. It's always the same kind of style. Something very natural. I like you being able to still see a lot of the redness from under. Me just in the fake light, and then relocation unlock. This is me in sunlight, natural sunlight, and I think it looks really good. I think it looks natural and still glowy. And yeah, anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like videos like this, let me know. If you want more kind of like makeup routine, makeup tutorial, me just showing you how to do something, let me know. But yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. All my social media will also be down below, and I will see you next time, whenever that may be. Bye.